Imagine walking through this world, carrying an invisible sign, a spiritual mark that few can see, but that influences every aspect of your life. Have you ever felt that you were chosen for something greater? Have you experienced inexplicable moments, coincidences that seem aligned with a divine purpose? Perhaps you have been marked by God, and this mark can change everything. The idea of being marked by God spans centuries, appearing in various cultures and spiritual traditions. But what does it really mean? How does this mark manifest? And most importantly, how can you know if you carry this mark? In this video, we will explore this spiritual truth using biblical passages, deep reflections, and powerful stories to reveal the impact of this mark on your life. Get ready, because by the end of this video, you may discover that you were chosen for something far greater than you ever imagined. The invisible sign, the mark of God. Throughout history, since ancient times, the idea of being marked by God has been a recurring theme. In the Old Testament, Cain received a divine mark to protect him after his terrible crime. In the New Testament, Revelation speaks of the seal of God on the foreheads of the chosen ones, a sign of protection and belonging. But this mark is not just symbolic. For many, it manifests in concrete ways, an inner calling, an experience that changed the course of their life, or even inexplicable persecutions by the world. Remember, being marked by God does not always mean being recognized or applauded. On the contrary, it often means being set apart, tested, and even rejected by those who do not understand your purpose. And you? Have you ever felt that your life is being guided by something greater? Have you ever faced inexplicable struggles, as if you were being shaped for a special destiny? Perhaps it is time to recognize the mark that God has placed upon you. The chosen ones. The mark on biblical figures. The Bible is filled with stories of people who were marked by God, ordinary people whose lives were transformed by a divine calling. Abraham was marked with the promise of becoming the father of a great nation, but this mark came with immense challenges. Moses was chosen to free an entire people, but had to wander the desert for 40 years. Jesus, the Son of God, bore the greatest mark of all, the cross, and through it, he redeemed all of humanity. And there are many others. David, a simple shepherd who became a king. Paul, a persecutor of Christians who became the greatest apostle of faith. What do they all have in common? The mark of God made them different, placed a purpose upon them, and often led them through difficult paths before the glory. If you feel that you are facing trials, perhaps it is a sign that God has something greater for you. His mark is not just a symbol of protection, but also a sign of transformation. And today, how to recognize the mark of God in your life. The mark of God is not limited to biblical times. Even today, people around the world experience a special calling, a sense of purpose that sets them apart from the crowd. But how can you recognize this mark? Here are some signs. An intense desire for something greater, a purpose you cannot ignore. Encounters and experiences that seem more than mere coincidences. A sense of protection, even in the midst of difficulties. A constant struggle between what the world offers and what God places in your heart. Persecutions and challenges that seem to arise exactly when you try to follow your faith. If any of these resonate with you, perhaps God has marked you for something special. But remember, this mark does not mean ease, but purpose. And those who carry this mark must be prepared for the path ahead. The path of those marked by God. Being marked by God means being ready for challenges that many will never face. But it also means receiving a strength that few possess. Jesus himself said, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." John 16:33. The question is not whether you have been marked by God. The question is, what will you do with this mark? You can ignore it, try to live an ordinary life, suppress this calling. But the truth is that the mark of God does not disappear. It will pursue you. You will always feel that there is something more, something that needs to be done. And one day, you will have to choose to live according to this mark or to run from it. If you feel that this message spoke directly to you, leave your comment below. Share your story. Have you ever felt that you were marked by God? How has this mark impacted your life? And remember, being marked by God is not a burden, but a privilege, a sign that you were chosen for something great. So, get ready, because the path may not be easy, but the reward is eternal.